Hi, Bill Walsh with you again. I wanted to take a minute to provide a little more detailed outline of how you could implement our tour stop technology as a part of your training with the swing jacket. Our goal through all of our training materials is to do everything we can to simplify everything about your golf swing and how you're going to learn how to improve it and lock it into muscle memory. And we feel that the tour stops can be a tremendous resource that can help you to ensure that you're in the correct positions for you to achieve the outcome that we're all trying to achieve, which is to hit it longer and straighter and more consistently than ever. So let's just chat a little bit about how you can use the tour stops to help your game, and let's start with putting them on a quick and easy way to install them on the rail of your swing jacket. So what we found is the most effective way to install these on the rail is to use the channel that runs down the middle of the rail to pry the 2 feet of the tour stop apart, and then you just snap the tour stop in. And once you've got it in place, you can tip it up like this, and it's really easy to slide along and then flip it down so it's in a position that achieves whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your practice routines. Now, if you should find that the resin, it's just too difficult for you to get that to snap on, take the tour stop, put it in some hot water for a couple of minutes, and you'll find that'll soften the resin and it'll go on like a hot knife through butter. So that'll make it a lot easier for you. So let me put on my swing jacket and let's get started. So you can see that I've got a tour stop installed on each rail, and I've positioned them so that they're on the outside, and so they're not going to have any impeding of my swing no matter what I do in my golf swing. And so that's sort of your starting position. Now, what you're going to notice for me is that I'm a fairly small guy. I got a 40-inch chest. And so for me, the tour stops you're going to see are quite close to the center of the swing jacket. And so for you want to pay attention to the relative position of the tour stop as opposed to the absolute position, because if you're a big barrel-chested person, then your arms sit way wider on your trunk than mine do. And so as a consequence, your tour stop may be quite a ways out from the middle to achieve the outcome that we're trying to achieve. So now what we're trying to accomplish here is to develop a simple, easy to repeat golf swing that puts you in all the right positions so you're connected and on plane. If you are finding when you're using the swing jacket that you seem to be fighting it feels restrictive to you, then that's indicating to you that you are trying to disconnect at that point in your golf swing. And as counterintuitive as that might sound, you actually may use the tour stop to make the swing jacket even more restrictive, and that will allow you to get into the proper positions and train your body to repeat a more fundamentally sound golf swing. So if in your backswing you feel like it's restrictive right when you start, then that might be indicating that you're trying to lift, you're trying to get separated, you're trying to disconnect as you move away from the ball. If, on the other hand, you seem to be going fine in the backswing, but as you start down, you feel like it's restrictive, we're going to deal with both of those things here. So the first thing that we talk about on the Swing for Life video is the tray of drinks position, and that being the position where basically from the heel of your palm to the tip of your elbow is at a right angle to the ground, so that when you get to the top of your backswing, it's facing straight down. And so if you get too deep, this arm slides too far along the rail, then you're going to feel, you would picture that tray of drinks spilling forward. And what's going to happen is that you're then going to try to disconnect in order to come over the top to get back to the ball, because from here, it's not a natural position to come back to the ball. So you would use a tour stop and you would tip it up like this and you would slide it forward so that the deepest that you can get in your backswing is that tray of drinks position. And but if you're that person who feels like it's restrictive right off the bat, then you may actually want to move it a click or two towards your sternum from that position, almost so it's at an address position. So rather than lifting, you're going to learn to rotate right off the bat. And so this would be a situation where you would use it for sort of what you would think is a half swing, just so that you're going to train your body to start turning as you move away from the ball, as opposed to lifting. And that's something that a lot of women will tend to do, is they'll tend to lift rather than rotate. Now, if you're like me, getting a little longer in the tooth, then you may want to position the tour stop on the rail a click forward of that tray of drinks position. And so what my own personal experience is that it would seem that my body's trying to protect itself or whatever, and even though I have the flexibility to make a good, 90-degree rotation in my backswing, it doesn't seem to naturally want to go to that position. And so for me, I move it that click forward from there, so I actually can't get to the tray of drinks position. And so my body seems to sense that, hey, wait a minute, this isn't a full swing. And so it just keeps turning, and it's not something I'm even conscious of or aware of. It just means that I'm going to continue to get a full rotation in my backswing. Now, one of the great things about training with the swing jacket at home is that you can put that tour stop in there. You don't even need a golf club, and you can be working on getting to that position at the top of your backswing, so you feel like you've got a really good turn and that you're in that tray of drinks position, and you're just reinforcing that over and over again. Now, one of the things that some people will experience is that they'll actually pop this tour stop off the rail. They'll put so much force on that tour stop that it will pop off. And as you can see, I can put a lot of force in this thing and it's not coming off. But lots of people do it. And so if you find that you're causing that tour stop to release, then you want to be really careful. First of all, you don't want to injure yourself, and you're putting a lot of force on that. But more importantly, what you're trying to achieve is that when you get out on the golf course without the swing jacket, you're naturally moving to that correct position, so that you wouldn't need a tour stop on your swing jacket. You would just start to get to that position. So if you find that you're popping it off, then continue to work on that. It might even make it more restrictive, so that you are reinforcing better mechanics. Take smaller swings, take half swings, start getting that rotation, start getting yourself into better fundamental positions through the swing. Now, on the through swing side is really where the magic happens for a lot of golfers. And most amateur golfers have disconnected swings, and that's why they struggle with distance, they struggle with accuracy, and they really struggle with consistency. And it's because when you get disconnected, you now have to depend on tempo and timing and balance and rhythm and dumb luck maybe to get yourself back to that repeatable impact position that you're trying to achieve, so you'll hit the ball longer and straighter and more consistently. And so for a lot of golfers, they're actually pretty good in their backswing, but then when they start coming down to the ball, the torso starts to slow, so they can speed up the arms and hands, because we all know that we're trying to develop more club head speed. And so they're going to be throwing their hands and arms at the ball, and the shoulders will slow. And so they're wasting the power that you would get if you were a boxer. You want to punch this way, you don't want to punch this way. And so those golfers that are kind of slapping at it with their hands and arms are wasting a lot of power. And that's where the real magic can happen with the tour stop on the through swing side with the swing jacket. So if you think about what Dave talked about on the Swing for Life, release happens when the head of the club passes the butt end of the club. And so if you're one of those golfers that will, if you picture Jordan Spieth or Lee Westwood, they tend to to kind of release this left elbow away from their torso as they go through the ball. Now, Jordan Spieth can get away with it because he is rotating aggressively through impact, and so he's not losing any of that power. But for most golfers, and I was one of those golfers, you're trying to steer the ball down the fairway, and so that separates. And so you look at where my hands are, well, the club hasn't passed the butt end yet. And so the ball has left the scene and you still haven't released the club. And so all that potential is being wasted. Similarly, if you're one of those golfers that has been told he comes over the top, then the natural tendency is for this, through swing elbow to come this way. That's why you hit the slice, because your path is coming from outside to in, and you're chicken winging here. And once again, the head of the club has not passed the butt end of the club until long after the ball is headed for the toolies on the right. So this is where the magic happens with the tour stop on this side. So I'm going to slide this forward and I'm going to put it basically at my address position. Come on, you. So I'm at address, and now this arm can't move to the left even a little bit. And for me, I actually put it one click towards my sternum from there so that I've got a little bit of flexibility with my arm cuff, but I can't go left. And so what now happens is that you're coming to in your backswing, this arm can slide along the rail, but then it's going to come down and it's going to meet that tour stop. And now it's going to force you to rotate. This arm is going to stop. It's going to bend and fold. So now the head is going to pass the butt end of the club at impact. And it's also going to force you to rotate up into this position that Dave talks about in the Swing for Life, where he wants you to finish is tall. Your shoulders are level. There's no stress on your back. So you're turning and you're tall and your back is straight. It's not tilted back, and you're not tilted this way. You're just nice and tall. And so that happens when this bends and folds, and you just naturally get up in this position. Your hands are just above your shoulder, and you're in a very comfortable position. So I used to be a 2 Advil around guy because I used to have that, Jerry Pate, reverse C, and I'd come up and I'd be finishing here, and I'd have my hands really high, and I hit a slice, and I had a sore back all the time. Well, I haven't taken a painkiller in years because I'm now getting to that position. And when Dave put this tour stop on the rail for my first experience, I went from hitting my tee shots 250 yards to 300 yards. Now, that was about 10 years ago. I'm 66 now. I can still hit a 285, 290. And I'm not a big guy and I don't swing hard. But because I'm releasing the club, I'm harnessing that centrifugal force, and I'm in that strong power position at impact, I'm able to hit the ball pretty well for an old geezer. So just a couple of little tips for you on how to use the tour stops. I hope that you find this helpful. Some of the things that you can do at home to check your positions is that, put yourself in that, take your golf swing and put yourself in that kind of 9 o'clock position where your hands would be about belt height, the club would be level with the ground in the downswing. And are you turning your hip or are you sliding your hip? If you're sliding your hip, then this is going down, you're going to end up in that bad position at the finish, and you're going to waste a lot of power. The other thing that you can check is when you come down here, is your belt buckle facing, halfway to your target, or is your belt buckle still facing the ball, in which event you're not turning. So just a couple of little things that you can do to sort of check your positions at home and make sure that, okay, I am turning and I'm not sliding my hip. And those are things that will really pay dividends for you if you get those right. So I hope this is really helpful for you. I hope this has given you some context to the use of the tour stops. And we can't wait to hear how well you're doing. Thanks for this, and we'll see you next time.